So as you can see, Keely again, normally my builds start off with nothing built, but as you can see, there's already something built here. And as you can see, the houses that I just featured to the right and left of this build, they are already uploaded onto my gallery account as well. Excuse me, under KeelyCat4, just as the YouTube channel you're watching this on. This was a build that I started a really long time ago, probably back in 2017 or 2018. And I built it, and the ideal was to make it like a mini city. So this was probably not too long after City Living came out, and I wanted like a mini city as like a residential lot. And I just couldn't finish it. Like I started the outside, I liked how it turned out outside, but I just couldn't get the desired effect that I wanted from the outside of the lot, and I kind of just gave up on it. So it kind of just sat in one of my save files where I'd build most of my houses for the past several years, and I decided to come back to it. So this is actually a two-part video, and I have the lots named City Feel because the goal was to make it a city-themed residential lot. So technically this is only one house, but I have two separate quote-unquote apartment buildings that, maybe a family could live in, the teen ages up, and quote-unquote moves out into the other apartment. Um, so that was the goal of this build. Today's joke of the day is, what is a hamster's favorite game show? So think about that. If hamsters watched game shows, which one would be their favorite? But yeah, so I originally had them as two separate, like more modern like buildings. Now coming back to this years later with more packs, more building experience, and just some more ideas in general, I didn't really want to do that. I can't say I've been to New York City a lot. I've only been there, I think, once. Um, I am familiar very vaguely with the idea of a brownstone building, though. So I looked it up. As you can tell, I tried to model my city feel apartments off of this. I know brownstones are technically connected, they're a type of townhome, um, but I really like the little alleyway and walk between the two buildings. So based on the lot restrictions, we can just pretend that these are, connected on either side. But I wanted to have it so you could adequately access the city area in the back, which would be kind of connected or cut off and not connected if I did not keep the space in between the two buildings open. So that is why I decided to keep it like that. But to try to make it more accurate, I looked up some brownstone houses on the internet, scrolled through to look like what they looked like on the top, then the outside, and the entryways, and flip through a lot of different pictures to try to get a general feel. I wanted to use some of the windows provided with City Living. Unfortunately, though, I couldn't really match them the way that I wanted, so I went with some different windows. As you can see, I want to use that window above on the house on the left at this moment, but I didn't end up doing that. I also believe I raised the size of the house up to be able to use some different doors, since most of the houses I build have the smallest or lowest height available. As you can see in the front, the things that I already had built when I loaded this up was the little alleyway in between with a lot of the city living, you know, benches and lights and like little basketball thing you can see in the back in the bathrooms, and the food stations, which I think was a really cool idea. And I also have like the little sign and the lights. I think the lights are really pretty. And the painting, easels and things like that. Microphone, all the things that are kind of in your city living general neighborhoods. Like if you were to hop over to the arts district or whatever right outside of the gallery, they have the easels and things like that. So I decided to keep those because I thought I did a good job with that. And I threw in two different food stations, and then in the back you can see I have a little sign, and I ended up adding more later. Here's where I tried to decide the windows. I really want to use the windows, as you can see, that I keep messing with from Discovery University. Ooh, excuse me. I am so tired. But they just didn't quite match with the design I was going for, so I ended up not being able to use them. But yeah, so here I kind of decided on trying to make the windows fit the best that I could, and I copied the design from the first house to the second house, even though they're not connected, to kind of keep that the townhouse feel. So yeah, this is again, like I said, a two-part video. So in this video, we kind of just go through building the outside, changing it from the not so cool, more like modern with like the weird blue windows that I had before, and changing it into this more like brownstone and city-like feel that I had here. And I believe I furnished the lower floor of both of the homes. In the second video, I finish just furnishing the inner side of the home, the third floor for both of them, and the second floor, I believe. So this is kind of just the beginning part. I don't have anything fancy to edit these videos with. They're just honestly for fun. If you enjoy them, that's great. Hopefully you do. Hopefully they make your day. Um, I just talk about random stuff. So maybe you like the jokes. I don't know. I know they're pretty cheesy, but I like a good cheesy joke. Um, so yeah, hopefully you enjoy if you decide to watch through. Like I mentioned earlier, the two houses to the left and the right of the City Feel two-part video that I'm building are also still available on my gallery account. Keely Cat 4, same thing as the YouTube name. So here we go, adding more windows. I just kind of kept flipping through to find what I liked the best. And a couple times you see me pause for a while where I'm kind of just searching through things online to see what looks the most like the reference photos that I found. As of today, the day that I'm voiceovering this, I created this a while ago now, but with classes, I just didn't have time to record me saying anything. Um, I posted the the C results gym, and I also placed that in my like regular game that I've been playing on since I got The Sims back in 2016 or 2017. And I put up the little like radios. There we go, like the radios that play music, and I love the ones from the Snowy Escape Pack, and I forgot that they only play Japanese themed music. So I went and took my sim to the gym in my regular game, and I was like, man, this is some really calming music for the gym. And I was like, well, this is my own doing. I'm the one that put this there. And I was like, oh, I'll just change the station. And then I was like, I just can't. So I had some other radios in there too, and I think I put on like some disco music or something. I don't know, but it was pretty funny. I totally forgot that you can't change the music when you put in the Japanese style radios from Snowy Escape. The goal of the bottom floor was to kind of just be a entryway, so kind of like your mailbox, your trash chute, kind of like um, if this was a true apartment building where you would have all of your, communal spaces, kind of like a bathroom at the bottom floor. Maybe I should have put debug on and put in the apartment board, but I didn't end up doing that. Um, so kind of all your like important information and just like a general space. So the entryway is not actually a living space for the first apartment. You have to go up to the second floor to find where you actually have like your kitchen and everything. And I did that for both of the homes, the left and the right one. I tried to do a similar style, but slightly different based on the color schemes in both of them. And I had fun with these pipes, trying to make it, we have some exposed piping and things of that nature, the brick staircase and all that kind of stuff. So I think I put everything and sorted it all through. Looks like I used just City Living right now to look through and see what I could find. And that's where I found a bunch of these pipings. And I put garage doors on different parts of the houses too, just because they're kind of up on the foundation. It looks a little bit silly, but a little garage space. It's a little bit hectic at first. I kind of just slapped down everything I thought might look good, and then I went back and sized everything down later with the little bracket key. Looked for some little signs and, like old-timey stuff to make the apartments look more, you know, not so new and fresh, that they kind of been around the block a couple years. Some caution signs, got to make sure that we're compliant with all of our rules and regulations. From what I had initially built, I don't know if you guys could see or not, but all I had built was just the outer shell, and then I had like this weird, um, like diagonal wall, which is why that stuff was floating there earlier in the video. And I was just gonna kind of ignore the whole first floor and then just have you go up to the second floor as like the living space, but I thought that was a huge waste of space. So, as the sim is down, enjoying the quote unquote, city feel and like faux city that you have going on there, it would be kind of silly if the whole bottom floor for both of the buildings was just empty and just kind of cut off. So I decided that's why I made it this like entryway. I threw in, multiple mailboxes, even though they're not all going to be functional. And same thing with, I put two of the little boards, even though you won't be able to functionally use both of them to alter it like it's two separate households, you can always pretend. And that was the goal, at least. That's why I imagine maybe in the future me using this is, no one lives in the other building, and then one of the Sims ages up, and then they live there, down the street from their family. So they can come visit and everything like that. So here we go, finally transferring some things over, moving some things around with the pipes. Use some stuff from Get to Work on this as well. All right. More pipes. This is the pipe-a-thon, apparently. I wanted to use this sign, but just based on the original size of the sign, it just wouldn't work. I wish I could recolor that square from Get Famous, because I would do it like it's just a different color, but in the same spot on the other, quote unquote, other building. I put those pipes there and then that picture in the left room until I forgot that those were supposed to be bathrooms for the first floor. Oops. So hopefully your day is going good wherever you are in the world at whatever time you may or may not be watching this. Right here where I'm filming this, it is sunny and about 3 o'clock. But although it is sunny, it is very cold. Got some Arctic air floating around down here. Speaking of Arctic air, I remember, does anyone else remember Webkins? I'm a huge fan of Webkins as well. And I remember having the Arctic Fox Webkin, and I like, oh my goodness, I would like make like this huge extravagant room for, this Arctic Fox Webkin. They all had their own like special little like food item, and I wrote down my password to Webkins and I was able to get back in the other day. Well, this was a while ago now, but when I finally got back in, I was like, oh my goodness, there's just so many Webkins between the Arctic Fox and, all the cats and things like that that I had. Um, Such a good time. I made a new account just for the nostalgia, to play the games. Smoothie Move, if anyone's ever played Webkins. The original Webkins is still available. You can download it and you can play for free now, actually. Um, but they limited the features and you can't visit anyone's house anymore. I think that's kind of stupid, and kind of sad. You can't show off your own like Webkin's house. But I made a free account just for fun to play some of the games again. If only the money in Webkins could be real money. My Webkin has like $30,000. If only. If only. I remember I was showing someone else how to build in The Sims, and they were like, "Well, like, how much money do I have to spend?" And I was like, "Whatever you want." And they were like, all the time? And I was like, well, right now we're just in build mode, so like you can do whatever you want. But yeah, if you opened this up in a household, then they'd have a limited amount of funds, unless you gave them extra money. But it was pretty funny. At least to me it was. I never used this tile from or like the brick inside that I put in there. So I just did two different colors of that to kind of make it similar but not the same. Change the bathrooms up a little bit. It was funny to come back to this build after, only doing the exterior and stuff, and then having so many more items to use, so many years down the road. It made it more exciting to build this because I only had so many items when I started this build, and it just kind of got something that I just got, I wasn't that excited about building anymore, and I just kind of left it. I thought I really honestly wouldn't come back to it, but I ended up doing that. The rugs, again, my favorite part. Trying to use a rug I haven't used that often. I ended up just using the same rug and just recoloring it in different ways. And I made some edits to the outside cityscape as well, but for the most part, it stayed roughly the same. How many other people like actively use curtains all the time? I feel like sometimes they can be kind of bulky, so I honestly don't use curtains a lot in The Sims. Um, not super often in my builds, especially if it's like a tight space. That's kind of something that I normally do if I like download something from the gallery. I'll just like go through and delete all the curtains, or just keep a couple. Gotta let the natural light in. The window at the front keeps clipping. If you download this and it keeps like, yeah, you might just have to click on it and bring it back. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is for that, but it keeps happening. All right. Looks like I went back out to the outside now. I ended up switching out some of these benches because I wasn't too thrilled with the ones that I had. At this point when I was building this originally, like I said, that was probably one of the only main benches we had. I went back and fixed the basketball court area too. Now you can sell stuff, like it's the little flea market. And I added some little areas to plant. So that's like your outdoor planter. I think the bikes are a great idea. The only thing is, whenever I try to have a sim use the bike in, what is it? Um, I'm forgetting the name at the moment. But at like the newer university, um, with all the steps and stuff, because it's more modern, the bike just like they get off the bike and then they'll stand up and they'll be like, and then they'll get back on the bike. And it just kind of makes it weird. And they're always late to class whenever I try to have them get to class early. With the bikes, at least. I ended up getting rid of that mural there, but I totally forgot about it. So I added in a grill, and I thought about changing the lights, but I just ended up keeping them the same. I wanted it all to match, so. Here I swapped out the benches again. And I believe I did it a second time too. Yep. I went from the ones from Snowy Escape. So, as we near the end of part 1, what is a hamster's favorite game show? I'll add another um, joke in for the second part, but the answer to this joke is Wheel of Fortune. So, let me know what you thought. Did you like this time's joke in this video? Let me know. And here we go with the rest of the build. Put in some more sports equipment. You can do your cheerleading routine. Here I went through and I was going to change the posts. I wanted it to be the ones from Get Together, but they weren't, the lighting and like the little flags were not as long as the ones from City Living. I had an excessive amount of these for some reason too. Yeah, like I want to use those, but they weren't long enough. And so it made the seating area way too small. So I was a little disappointed because I kind of wanted to use the flags. I kind of like those better. Otherwise, the seating area was way too crammed. So the next couple minutes of me is just trying to figure out and then figuring out that it doesn't really fit. And there's that mural that I get rid of later that I totally forgot about when I was building this. It's kind of hidden underneath there. Do you see it? Yeah, so I ended up just going back to what I started with, to be honest. Yeah, tune in for the next video to see how the inside turns out. Thank you. Have a great day.